Yup, welcome to the video. This is part 2 of my time in a pyramid scheme. If you haven't watched part 1, go watch it or else this isn't really going to make sense to you. So basically where I had left off is me and my brother ended up having to move to Danbury, Connecticut because we had to move out of my grandma's house because our grandfather had just died. And my grandma called me up and was like, you have this amount of time. You have I think it was she gave us like a month and a half to move out. Because she had to sell the house because she needed the money. So we ended up moving to Danbury to this place called Kennedy Flats. It was a nice place. I'm not gonna lie. Area was iffy, but it was a nice building, and we got a 2-bedroom, and it was just nice because we were the only ones, not the only ones, but one of the only ones that had our own place. You know, we had our own apartment. I was 22, I think, at this time, and my brother was 19. I was or maybe 22, and I think my brother was 19 years old. And so to us, we had both hit 6 figures in cryptos. We got our own place, and we were like, okay, this is working. So at this point, we are building the company like crazy. I'm telling you, we're throwing event after event at our house. I think almost the whole city ended up coming to our house at one point. And fast forwarding probably through the summer, end of 2020, this is probably around June or July of 2020, I end up hitting a rank called Platinum 5000. Platinum 5000 is 225 people on your team, 5,000 a month, 1,250 a week minimum. Usually get about 6,000 a month with bonuses. And then my brother ended up hitting a rank called Platinum 2000, which is 75 people on your team, 2,000 a month, 500 a week. So at this point, we're making good money between the compensation plan, between trading and cryptos. So at this point, we're like, dude, we got to get out of here. I was like, we're going to leave. Let's go to Miami. Because I originally wanted to move to California when I was a kid. That was my dream. I wanted to live in San Diego. That was my dream of dreams. And I had a friend out there, and he was like, don't come here, I'm moving. So I was like, I remember I told everyone, I was like, let's all move to Miami. I was like, let's all move there. Because I remember my upline, my mentor, was like, you can't leave your team is in Danbury. So me, I was like, okay, I'm gonna move. We're gonna all move to Miami. We're all gonna move there, and we did. I think there was 20 of us ended up moving to Miami. And when we all got there, we went down, started looking for apartments. Now this was in 2020. Miami was cheap in 2020. It was not expensive. You could get all these high rises that you see now. You know, all the people in the high rises, they're $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month plus. When we moved down, it was $2,000, $2,300, $2,500 for a nice one bed on the 40th floor or something like that, which is what we were paying for the 2-bedroom in Danbury. So I was like, I'm on the 2nd floor in fucking Danbury. Or I can go to Miami on the 40th floor. I was like, this is easy. This is easy. So we go down, we find places, come back up to Danbury to pack. I swear to you not, 3 days before, I think it was 3 or 4 days before I moved, I was getting the brakes changed on my car. I was getting the brakes changed, everything, because me and my ex were gonna drive down there because we were bringing all of our stuff. So I swear to God, this was on Main Street in Danbury, and I get the brakes changed, get everything, windshield wipers, everything, oil change, the whole works, and I end up getting gas. I go right across the street to get gas, and this cop pulls up behind me, and I'm like, all right, whatever, whatever. And then another cop pulls up in front of me. Now, if you've never had that happen to you, you may not know what that means, but I know what that means. I end up getting arrested that day, 4 days before I leave to Miami. And it was funny because at that point, my whole life was full of positivity. It was changing. Everything was going different. Apparently, I had a warrant out for my arrest for like 3 years or 3 years, which was weird because I spent those whole 3 years. I left the country. I said I went to London. I took probably almost 100 flights in those 2 years. And in my head, I'm like, I didn't know what I had a warrant out for. And I was like, how did you guys not catch me? Just out of curiosity. I was like, how did you not catch me? I was like, are you guys not doing what the movies are showing? I was like, I've been to the airport hundreds of times. I even left the country. And, they kind of gave the like, oh, well, it's not that. I didn't understand it. But then that's kind of how I started my Miami journey, which sucked because now I know, now that I go down to Miami, I have to come back and forth to court because you got to go up to court in Connecticut, which I'll explain that way down the way more into the story. So we ended up moving to Miami, all of us. I moved down to Miami in September of 2020. It was like September 2nd, 2020. That's when I had moved down. Everyone else had moved down around, I want to say, October and November. Now, there was already people that I knew that were in Miami. Friends and sidelines, uplines, all of that were in Miami between Brickell, downtown Miami, all the way to Hollandale, Hollywood, somewhere in Edgewater. And everybody was there. We had everybody that was in the company at that point. And then what had happened when we all moved there, we were like, yo, let's throw a big Miami event. We had a big Miami event, and somehow someone ended up getting like Floyd Mayweather to like speak on one of the events. And at this point, I'm going crazy, and everyone around us is going crazy. We got a little spot up in, I think it was Wynwood. We got this spot in this just weird place. And we had maybe like 500 people. Because remember, you couldn't really this was still during the pandemic. Now, Miami didn't really have a pandemic. Miami, like when I moved down here, no one was wearing masks. No one was social distancing. Not like they were up in Connecticut and New York and even in California. So we're crowd surfing people. And then we end up going to a gala because it was right on my birthday. We're crowd surfing people. I'm getting crowd surfed at the gala. Everyone, like, it was absolute pandemonium. No social distancing, no nothing. And then right after this was, because that was in November, around December time, cryptos, December of 2020 is basically when cryptos just boomed, exploded. Because Bitcoin was still kind of around that 10K-ish range, 10, 11K. And then I think it was between December of 2020 and March of 2021, everything, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Solana, every crypto that you can think of, boom, skyrocketed. And this is when my ego went through the freaking roof, because my portfolio had went from just hitting six figures to over $500,000, me and my brother. And now it's just to a point where there is literally nothing that can be said to us, because the teams are growing. Around this time, I had about 600 people on my team. I was like 30 people away from the Chairman 10 rank, but I was making way more money through trading and cryptos and everything. And at this point, everything is going crazy. Everyone is making money. Everyone's in a high rise in Miami. Every event that we're at, people are showing up in Mercedes and Maseratis, and whose penthouse are we going to? Whose high rise are we going to? What designer store are we going to buy? It was pandemonium, because at this point, I started having people on my team that were all over the world. I was having people on my team that was in Spain, that was in Nigeria, that was in Australia, that was in Colombia, that was in Dubai. Like, there was people now, Canada, like people now all over. There was even someone on my team, I swear to God, that was in jail. I did not understand how. I remember I got on the call with them. Someone on my team got me on a call with them, and they were dead ass in jail. In jail I don't know. I don't know. I've never been to jail, so I don't know how that happened. But he had a phone, he had a computer, literally in jail. And I was like, oh my God. So I was on calls from 6 a.m. from when I woke up to when I went to sleep, from calls to events. I'm now going to events, speaking in front of 1,000+ people, doing op call after op call after op call nonstop. And this is to a point now where everything is setting up to just be perfect, or at least so we had thought, right? So we had thought. Everyone's getting all excited now, and everyone's like, it's in play. Everything is perfect. Because at this time, this is when trading in cryptos now, everyone wanted to learn about it. Because Bitcoin all of a sudden went from that scam coin that was at 10K to now it's at 60. I think it maxed out at 63,000 at the time. Obviously, it went and hit 100K not too long ago. But at the time, I think it maxed out around 63 or 64,000. And now everyone wants to learn about trading. Everyone wants to learn about crypto. So it wasn't even like we were going out to find people. Like, we weren't DMing. People were messaging us because they're seeing our portfolios and the high rises and all of the lifestyle. So now everyone's business is just booming nonstop. I mean, my team was jumping by 10, 15, 20 people almost every single day. It was insane at the point. And everyone's just taking Adderall and drinking, it was Bang Energies, which is so, looking back, is so bad for you. It was just Bang Energies, Adderall, hookah, just nonstop. Now, this is when I would say kind of like the downfall of everything. Everything started getting weird. So I always had a rule that I always lived by. And I was in a relationship at the time, but that's not why. I always had a rule. I never was going to have relations with somebody that was on my team or on a partner of mine's team, because it's the same as having relations with someone who's a coworker. One of you is going to have to quit that job because it's going to get weird. It's going to get weird. Even if you think it's not, either you guys end up falling in love and dating and having a whole love story, or it's going to get weird. Now, I always lived by that rule. Even when I had ended up, me and my ex had went our separate ways, I still lived by that rule. And there was no one on my team. It didn't matter. It didn't matter because we're working together. We're building a business. We're on that type of business level. I don't want to have that type of relationship with you because it's going to get weird. It's going to be weird. Because everyone was seeing each other every day in person. Like, we were all together every single day. Didn't matter if it was at a hookah lounge or the beach or this person's penthouse or this person's high rise or just at the park. We were at the park screaming at like noon, for like running around screaming, taking videos. It was insane. Now, some people, most people, higher up were nuts following that rule. I thought that made sense. To me, that made sense. To others, I guess it didn't. And all of a sudden, more people started, having relations with people that were on my team and other people's teams. And you can tell. You can spot it. You can spot when someone has, you could spot it. And then all of a sudden, things started getting weird and uncomfortable very fast. Because at this time, I'm traveling a lot. Because I had teams that were all over the country. And a lot of the places that I would travel to was Dallas. Dallas is where a lot of the team was. And I would travel from Miami to Dallas almost once a month. And things started going very, 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 very south. And as I was getting closer to the Chairman 10 rank, I started getting into other group chats, higher up group chats, like group chats that had the Chairman 25s, Chairman 50s, Chairman 100s. You start getting into other rooms, different rooms as you climb. Because yes, I wasn't a chairman 10 yet, but I had made over $500,000 in this year. So, and I had became very close with some of the chairmen, and same with my brother, because my brother, not too long after we moved to Miami, he ended up hitting the rank of Platinum 5000 as well. So we both had, my brother, I think his max, I think he had like 350, 360, or maybe 370 people on his team. I had around like 650, almost 700 people on my team. It was just the last leg. Again, not going to go into all of the metrics with you guys. It was annoying. But the last, my profit leg, as they called it. And now, you ever hear the expression, don't peek behind the curtain? Well, I did. I ended up peeking behind the curtain. I was invited behind the curtain, and now I'm behind the curtain. Fully, I'm the person behind the curtain now. And I started just seeing things that I was not a fan of. I started realizing, this is kind of when my whole reality started coming crashing down. Not in a financial way, but in the love for the game way. The thing about network marketing, you have to be obsessed with your product. You have to love your product. You have to love it. You have to have the vision for it. If like in 2020, between the years of 2018, end of 2018, I would say, let's just say 2019, between 2019 and 2021, there was absolutely nothing anyone could say to me negative about the company or about trading. Nothing. I would throw you out of my house. I would insult the living hell out of you. Like, I would delete your number. Literally, and I have. Oh man, I would delete your number, end of friendship, don't ever come near me again, you brokey. Like, it was crazy. And then once I ended up making a lot of money, moved out, moved to Miami, kind of got everything that I was looking for, everything that I wanted. Because all I wanted was to make a lot of money, move away, make my mom proud, make sure my brother was good, and just, live by the beach, live by palm trees, enjoy my day. Well, if I want to go to the pool on a Tuesday at 6 a.m. or not 6 a.m., Jesus, 10 a.m., I can. If I want to go jet skiing on Wednesday, I can. If I want to get a yacht on Friday or on Thursday or on Monday or Sunday, whenever, I can. I don't have to call off work. I don't have to plan anything. I can catch a flight whenever I want. I can. But then once I started peeking behind the curtain, I started seeing things I didn't like. I started realizing that people I started realizing that people weren't who I thought they were. Started seeing things that I was really not morally about. Things that I didn't like, and it involves, relations and how people would talk about people, man. Like, I know this may not sound, and there is no reason for you to believe me, but I actually wanted to help people. Like, I actually wanted to put people on, because it had changed my life. It had changed my brother's life. It had changed so many people's lives around me. And I always wanted it to be like, dude, like, yeah, we're going to make money putting people on, but like, I actually want people to make money. I like, that was actually my goal. And if I get paid in the process, so be it. I'm not going to feel guilty for making money putting people on. I'm not going to feel guilty about that, because the people I was putting on my team were making money. Even the leaders that were on my team, still to this day, are trading. Still to this day, trading. Now, they don't all live in Miami. Everyone is kind of gone. People go their separate ways. Miami was just like the hub. Really, I'm the only one left in Miami. My brother and another friend of mine, they end up going up to like Hollywood, Hollandale. But I'm kind of the only one left in downtown Miami, which I'm planning kind of to move out of soon and go kind of up to like Sunny Isles-ish area. Just because traffic, and it's hectic down here now. Everyone ended up coming down here. So basically now, At this point, we had this product called HFX. This was the downfall of the company. This was the downfall of the company, right? Hyper frequency Forex. This is gambling. This is gambling. Trading Forex is not gambling. HFX is gambling. So basically what HFX is, it's high frequency Forex. It's when you're trading, I'm going to try to explain it the best I can. You're trading in like 60 seconds, like minute trades. It almost looks like freaking DraftKings. And you go on, you deposit. But the thing about trading Forex is your risk to reward. You could take a trade and you're risking $20 to make, 60. So if you lose 2 trades, you've lost 40. But now if you win that 3rd trade, you've won 60. So you've profited $20. But you went 1 out of 3, but you profited $20. HFX is the complete opposite. You risk $20 to make $13 profit. So if you lose twice, you've lost 40. But now if you win once, you've only won $13. Now, the win would say, it's kind of like gambling. If you gamble $100 at so what odds, and let's say you ended up winning 160. You didn't win 160. You won your 100 back and you profited $60. So now if you lose your next bet, you've lost 100, but you only profited 60. So now you're down 40. That's kind of how HFX was. And now all of a sudden we started going to make money in minutes. Make money in minutes. That's what it was. Money in freaking minutes, which is the downfall of it, because the whole point of getting into trading, that we had a game plan. Hey, this is what we're doing. This is our game plan. You got to come in. You got to demo. You got to learn a strategy. You have to learn. It's going to take time. But for other people, now money in minutes, everyone just comes in, opens an account, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, and then they lose money. Now they're losing money, and then the whole scam, and now that was the downfall of the company. That was really the downfall of the company. And that's when my love started falling away from it. But guys, that's the end of part 2. If you liked the video, drop a like, drop a comment if you were in it, or whatever, drop a comment about anything. I'm going to be dropping part 3 tomorrow. Again, part 1 is already out. I'm going to be dropping part 3. Part 3 is going to be how kind of my love faded away from everything and how I kind of got out of the whole mix. But I appreciate you guys. If you made it to the end of the video, like, sub, comment, and I'm out.